Pete and the others encountered an accident while on a cruise ship. Megan's newly met boyfriend only became a corpse after this disaster. With everyone's seemingly perfect cooperation, they still couldn't escape the cruise ship in the end. One day, Pete and his friends signed up for a cruise trip. Everyone was having a great time, but Megan couldn't find anyone to hang out with. She felt extremely bored. Suddenly, a boy appeared. He was a cleaner on the ship. This boy had a unique taste and actually fell for Megan, who wasn't particularly good looking. Meanwhile, all the other passengers on the ship attended a party in the banquet hall. They were singing and dancing there, but only Joe and Cleveland quietly left. When Pete saw this, he quickly chased after them. Cleveland said they were going back to their room for a small gathering and warmly invited Pete to join. However, Pete had to stay with his family, so he reluctantly declined the invitation.
Hey, aren't you the captain?
Yes.
If you're here, who's driving the boat?
Oh my God!
On the other hand, the previously calm sea suddenly churned up huge waves. Megan was still flirting with her new boyfriend on the deck when a huge rumble interrupted their conversation. A wave hundreds of meters high crashed heavily against the side of the ship. This 400-meter-long giant cruise ship was directly capsized by the waves and turned upside down on the water. The huge waves soon subsided, but the casualties in the banquet hall were severe. At this time, a man stepped forward and said that since the cruise ship was upside down, they had to find a way to the surface quickly. The ship's wall in the engine room was the thinnest, only a few centimeters thick. Before he could finish his words, a large hole opened in the floor, instantly swallowing up several people nearby. Then Megan's voice came. She enthusiastically introduced her new boyfriend to her family. Even though her boyfriend was dead, she said their love was still strong. After that, Pete made a ladder out of decorative brackets and led everyone to the platform where Megan was. At this moment, seawater began to flood the banquet hall, and everyone immediately ran towards the stern. Pete also called Joe and Cleveland to come along. The engine room was not far away, but a rush of seawater closed the engine room door. Joe used all his strength but couldn't push it open. The water pressure on the other side was too strong. At that time, a man appeared and said he could summon whales to help. Soon, 3 huge whales came and rammed the ship, actually adjusting the ship's position a bit. After the water pressure disappeared, Joe easily pushed open the door. Brian was actually there. It turned out that pets weren't allowed to move freely on the ship, so the crew had locked Brian in the lower part of the cabin. And Pete and the others had apparently been having too much fun and forgotten about Brian. So Brian decided to give them a little punishment. Lois urged everyone to quickly find the thinnest part of the ship's wall, but even the thinnest part was a few centimeter thick steel plate, and they didn't have a welding torch. Seawater was rapidly flooding the cabin, and the time left for them was getting shorter and shorter. Just as everyone calmly waited for death,
Man, that was crazy.
a voice over-explained the plot. The screenwriter really couldn't figure out how Pete and the others could survive in that situation. And since the video was about to exceed the time limit, this part of the plot was just skipped. The crew fined the screenwriter $500 for this.